Hello my dear students, we are continuing with chapter 5 Morphology of Flowering Plants, and today we are going to start with the other two main important reproductive parts of a flower, that is Androecium. Actually, Androecium is the male reproductive organ which consists of stalk, or it is also known as filament, and anther, and two are connected by a connective. And as we have discussed earlier, the units of Androecium are stamens. So let us talk about the stamen. Actually, each anther, it is usually bilobed, and each lobe has two chambers. Here we are talking about stamen. Stamen consists of two things, that is a filament and an anther. And now we are going to start with anther. So as I have said to you, anther is usually bilobed and each lobe has two chambers, and they bear these chambers, they are known as pollen sacs, because the pollen grains, they are produced in pollen sacs. And if the stamens, they are sterile, that means they are not able to reproduce, then this type of stamen is known as staminode. So this is a special term. Now in some of the flowers, the stamens may be united with the other members, such as stamens are united with petals or among themselves. When stamens are attached to petals, they are known as epipetalous. For example, in brinjal. So when you see the flower of a brinjal, the epipetalous condition that is observed. In last session we have learned in detail about calyx, corolla, and you know that petals, they are the unit of corolla. Then another condition is epiphyllous. Here when they are attached to the perianth, then this is known as epiphyllous, and the best example is found in lily. Let us again revise the meaning of perianth. In last session I have told you the perianth is that condition in which the calyx and corolla that are not differentiated. Any one can be observed, just like in lily, or you might have seen bougainvillea. So there only petal like structure that is observed, but it is not known as petal because calyx and corolla parts, they are not differentiated. So this condition is known as perianth. Now let us see the arrangements of stamens. The stamens in the flower may either remain free. So this condition is known as polyandrous, or sometimes they may be united in varying conditions. Like when they are united, the stamens may be united into one bunch or one bundle, like in China rose. So this condition is known as monodelphous. When the stamens are present in two bundles, like in a pea, then this condition is known as diadelphous. Similarly, when the stamens are present more than two bundles, they are present in more than two bundles, like in citrus, then this condition is known as polydelphous. So mono means one bundle, di means two bundles, and poly means three bundles, or more than two. So in this way they are present. Sometimes there may be variations in the length of filament also within the same flower, like in salvia and mustard. So there are so many exceptions and variations in the living world, and all these exceptions you have to remember also. So all these conditions which I have discussed right now, I have shown you with the help of this diagram. So A diagram is showing here monodelphous condition, B diagram is showing diadelphous, just as in a pea, and polydelphous in citrus. So in this way, when you observe these flowers, these type of conditions, they are observed. And in other diagram, different parts of anther, they are shown, like connective, anthers, and filament. And anther, it is usually bilobed, and in this way the pollen sacs, they produce pollen grains. It is shown in C diagram. Now let us discuss with another important reproductive part in a flower, that is gynoecium. Gynoecium is actually the female reproductive part of flower, and it is made up of one or more than one carpels. Carpels, they are the unit of gynoecium. One more name is there, that is pistil. So either you call it pistil or carpel, it's one and the same thing. Let us see. A carpel consists of three parts. They are stigma, style and ovary. Ovary is generally enlarged structure which is present at the base. So it is a basal part, and on which the elongated tube-like structure is present, which is known as style. And style actually connects the ovary to the stigma. Stigma is present at the tip of the pistil, and style as well as is the receptive surface for pollen grains. So whenever the pollen grains, they settle on the stigmatic surface, so it receives the pollens. So this is the main function of stigma. So when we call the structure of carpel from top to bottom, first comes stigma, followed by style and followed by ovary. So stigma, style and ovary. We are going from top to bottom. Now each ovary, it bears one or then one carpel. So this condition, it is found in various examples. So this condition is actually apocarpus, when more than one carpel is present. So this is apocarpus condition. They may be either free as in lotus or in rose, and sometimes these are syncarpus condition also, where the carpels, they are fused as in mustard and tomato. And even after the fertilization, the ovules actually, they develop into seeds, and this ovary, it matures into fruit. But this is true when the fertilization is completed. So ovule develops into seeds and ovary develops into fruit. Other important topic is regarding placentation. So the arrangement of ovules within the ovary is known as placentation. How the ovules, they are arranged, we will see with a different type of placentations. The placentations are of these types: first marginal, second axile, third parietal, fourth basal, fifth central, and lastly free central. They are actually shown in the diagram. So in next slide you are going to see the diagrams, but let us discuss about their description. First, marginal. I'll tell you the example first, like in pea. So what happens? The placentation, this type of placentation here, it forms a ridge along the ventral suture of the ovary, and the ovules are actually born on this ridge, forming two rows. So this is marginal type of placentation. Another is axile, like in China rose, tomato, lemon. You are very much familiar with when we cut the portion, cross section, this type of structure we are able to see. So in axile, the ovules, they are attached to the placenta in a multilocular ovary. So locules are present, and more than one locules, they are present. Then in parietal, the ovules, they develop on the inner wall of ovary or on peripheral part. Peripheral part is outer part, and ovary is actually one chambered, but it appears having two chambered due to formation of false septum. Septum is the wall which is separating these two locules. For example, in mustard and argemone. Lastly, when the ovules are born on central axis in the center, and septa are totally absent here, like in dianthus and primrose, then the placentation here, it is said to be free central type. And lastly, in basal placentation, the placenta develops at the base of the ovary and only a single ovule is attached. This is the peculiar characteristic, only a single ovule is attached. For example, in sunflower and marigold. In next slide, I will show you all the diagrams related to this topic. Right now, the next topic is connected to this page. So, we are starting with the fruit. Right now, we have discussed fruit. It is the ripened ovary. So, ovary after fertilization, it develops fruit. So, if a fruit is formed without fertilization, this condition also occurs many times, then it is known as parthenocarpic fruit. Generally, the fruit consists of a wall which is known as pericarp. So, fruit wall is known as pericarp, and fruit consists of seeds inside them. The pericarp may be either dry or it may be fleshy, means having pulp. When pericarp is thick and fleshy, it is differentiated into three parts. The outermost covering is known as epicarp, the middle is known as mesocarp, and the innermost layer is known as endocarp. So actually we are differentiating pericarp into three layers: epicarp, mesocarp and endocarp. So we have discussed about the fruit, that is pericarp, and here in diagrammatic form the parts of fruit that is shown. First diagram is concerned with mango, another is coconut, and here epicarp which is the outermost layer, then mesocarp which is the middle layer, and endocarp which is the innermost layer that is shown, and seeds are found within that. So mango and coconut, actually they are the fruit of drupe type, D-R-U-P-E, drupe. They develop from monocarpellary superior ovary. So monocarpellary means single carpel is present and they are one seeded. In mango, the pericarp is well differentiated into an outer thin epicarp, middle fleshy edible mesocarp, this part we are eating, and innermost is stony structure, very hard structure, which is endocarp. In coconut, which is a drupe type, again the mesocarp is here fibrous. This is the only difference. So in this way we can differentiate all the three layers of pericarp with the help of this diagram. So with the help of diagram I will explain you how the different type of placentation they are observed. Here you are able to see in A diagram that is showing marginal placentation, and here this particular structure, that is the ridge, and on this ridge the ovules they are located like this. So this is marginal placentation. In this way, B diagram, it is showing axile type of placentation, and we have understood that the ovules are attached to multilocular ovary. So you can see here, this is one of the locule, this is another locule, and this is, so trilocular structure we are able to see in the diagram. So these structures they are locular, and these are partition separating walls which are known as septum, and these structures they are ovules. So here almost 6 ovules they are found. Okay, so this is axile. C diagram, it is showing parietal type of placentation. Here the ovules they develop on the inner wall. This is the inner wall, okay, and this is the outer wall. So actually ovules they are present on the inner wall. You can see here these are the ovules, and here also 6 ovules they are developed, and ovary is one chambered. This is the whole chamber which is dark green in color, that is one chamber. So this is chamber, and this type of placentation is parietal. As found in mustard or argemone. But sometimes a false septum may develop, and we have understood that false septum it shows the appearance of 2 chambers, but actually it is not. So C diagram we have discussed, it is parietal type of placentation. Now D and E we have to discuss. D is showing free central type of placentation. Here you are able to see that on the central axis these ovules they are arranged, and here no septum is found, there is no partition wall. So here this type of arrangement which is found in dianthus and primrose, that is of free central type, free central. Now last type is basal placentation. A single ovule is there, we have discussed earlier, this is single ovule, okay, which develops, and the placenta develops at the base. So this is placenta which is developing at the base of the ovary, and a single ovule is attached here. So in this way this is basal type of placentation which is found in either sunflower or marigold. So now I have shown you which type of questions they can be asked, like on the basis of number give the types of stamens and give examples. Examples are very important whenever they come. You have to always remember the different type of example. Then in another way the question can be asked, explain the structure of stamen or state the types of stamen. So in this way I have shown you how to write the answer, and actually it depends upon the marks. Generally 2 marks question it will require 4 to 5 correct points. 3 mark question it will require 6 to 7 correct points, and long answer type it will require the diagram also. Actually it is mentioned, but you can show with the help of diagram. Generally in long answer diagrams are asked. Now in this page gynoecium related questions they are asked, like describe structure and types of gynoecium or explain the types of gynoecium. So in this way these type of questions they will help you to answer. Similarly this page it is showing the placentation and its types. So these diagrams they are important to draw. The diagram related to Androecium, Gynoecium and this placentation, all the diagrams are important to draw in classwork. So our today's session it consists of Androecium, Gynoecium and placentation with their variations and examples. So please do revise all the topics very thoroughly and do your work in proper time. Today we are ending our session here. Take care. Till then, bye bye students.